Hello, and welcome to a new episode of From the Honeycomb, a podcast that creates a spark of positive energy. Here we discuss all things architecture and design, to travel, exploring Vastu Shastra with a modern approach, and I especially love connecting with other like-minded women and sharing their story. I am your host, Katerina, and welcome to From the Honeycomb. I cannot believe it is December already. I don't know what happened to the month of November, but it has gone by so fast. I am kind of flying by the seat of my pants today in today's episode. It's been a really fun, busy social November, coming off my exam and being able to just plan whatever I want, do whatever I want, essentially not have to be stuck at home studying. I have really scheduled a lot of social events, and this over the weekend, it was Thanksgiving here in the United States, and every day almost, except this morning when I'm recording this episode, I have been shopping or visiting with family, or of course there was Thanksgiving Day, or Jesse's working on his truck. I helped him 2 days. And so it's just been so much going on, and I have a to-do list that's a mile long. I have piles of laundry all around me. But I wanted to sit down and record this episode and kind of show the reality of what's going on with how this year has gone and just reflecting on my word of the year, surrender. So if you've been following along since the beginning of the year, I chose a word, or we all chose a word that we wanted to use to represent something we could look back on if there was a challenging time throughout the year, and my word was surrender. So in today's episode, I want to reflect on where it is, because I feel like today I'm really encompassing that word with, like I said, so much of stuff to do, to-do lists around me, laundry. I have some Christmas stuff I already have to start going because December is going to be so busy. And I love it. I love how much stuff I have going on. It feels so exciting, but it's just like taking a moment to ground down and also just to surrender to the to-do list, to all the tasks we have to do, to all the expectations that really now coming, 2 years out of COVID, what that all kind of feels like right now. So grab a cup of coffee, tea, champagne. I'm sipping here on coconut water. It's been so dry here in Southern California, so I'm trying to hydrate. But whatever it is, grab that drink and let's reflect on this year. And before we begin, though, let's take a moment to kind of ground down in this present moment, putting away all the things we have to do, just setting our minds clear and thinking of one thing that we are grateful for in this present moment, whether it's small or big, whatever has brought you a sense of gratitude right now. And for me, just thinking right now is I am so grateful for our apartment that we live in, our home, because I'm so happy living here. And throughout the last decade, maybe even during the last 12 years, I've moved around a lot, especially during university, and then which was in Chicago, and then coming back to California. And there was a lot of moving in that time, and being in this home, this apartment that we've been in now almost 3 years, 3 years, I'm just so at home and it feels so good and I'm so grateful. And I actually bought, which I believe is my first Christmas decoration, my own that I picked out Christmas decoration, because I realized I haven't been able to really ever buy too many decorations. Maybe I have a little something here or there that I can decorate with in the fall. Like maybe I have some tea towels or hand towels per the season, but a full-blown decoration that is specific for a season, I don't think I really have anything like that. And so the other day, 2 days ago, when we were shopping with my cousin, I saw this cute little red pickup truck, and it made me think of Jesse because he's working on his pickup truck, our new member of the family, Betty. And I got so excited. I said, I want that at home. Like, I would like something Christmassy of my own that I have chosen, because Jesse has his Christmas decorations when we moved in together. So, of course, we have those. But I don't think throughout the years, maybe we've Christmas ornaments. I do know I bought a few of those, but nothing specifically that's just for decoration. And one of the reasons I think I haven't bought anything is, of course, there's storage. Because of all the moving I had, I haven't really bought anything Christmassy, because you have to think about, well, where are you going to put it the other, 10 and a half months out of the year? And so I bought this cute little pickup truck, and I put it in my little garden window where I have my little sprouts going right now. And I don't know, I'm just really excited to start decorating our apartment. And so just really grateful for the home that we've built here. Surrender. So that was my word for this year, 2022. And looking back on why I chose the word surrender is coming off of 2021, my word was hustle. And I really wanted to finish my exams and get licensed. And unfortunately, the universe said, nope, that's not going to happen. And by the end of 2021, I felt really defeated and burnt out. So this year, 2022, I said, I want to surrender. Go with the flow and just surrender to the universe as best as I can. It has definitely been very difficult for me to relax. I'm a busybody. I like having tasks to do, social events, things to do. As you can see, I've planned our whole December. I think we have one social event every day, which I love. I'm super excited. It's a variety of, we're going axe throwing. We're going to see a violinist, Lindsay Sterling, that I can't wait to see. We are going to a magician show. I mean, we're going to a Christmas tree farm, hopefully. And so there's just so much going on, and I'm super excited for it. But I do struggle with trying to relax. And like this episode, I had, knowing I was going to have to record this morning and thinking about what can I say? Like, how can I, I don't really have a little cheat sheet where I'm talking about, I built a little bit of a few topics I wanted to cover today, but I'm kind of just winging it. And in this moment, I realized, like, I'm just surrendering. I don't have to have everything planned out, and just go with the flow, see what comes up and kind of reflect. And that's kind of where this episode is going, and really harnessing that word of surrender, that just letting go. It's so important, because now thinking about this last year, I've had some health issues and some setbacks, and knowing that I do need to remember to always just let it go. Listen to my body more. It needs to heal. I can feel my body telling me to surrender to certain tasks. And actually, I had a little moment last night. We got home from Jesse's parents' house, and we were about to sit on the couch, and I was completely exhausted. And I thought, let me go and back to the kitchen and fix something or arrange something. And I thought, nope, sit back down. You don't need to nothing needs to get done anymore tonight. You can take care of it all in the morning. And it's just those little moments that I know when I tell myself, just sit back down, surrender, that it's just recharging my battery a little bit more, because there's just always so many tasks I want to do. So surrender was definitely a struggle for me this year, but I honed in on it on the big milestones of my life. So passing my exams, remembering just to surrender. I've done the work. I've done the best I can. I've showed up every day to study, but I cannot stress about the results too much. And so that definitely helped with that, with getting my exams done. But then looking back on my work, on my career, on my job, and there were definitely moments, difficult moments. I've had a challenging client, and at the beginning of the year, we were more involved. It's nearing the end of construction now, and so our office is actually getting less involved because of multiple reasons. But just remembering when there's a challenging time at work, or I have a client who is challenging. Challenging is a nice word. We're going to use that this client has been very challenging. But getting, an email from them, and just remembering to just let it go, not get too worked up about it. And there's been a few other things, just, working with other people, different personalities. People are evolving, growing, and sometimes you don't evolve and grow together at work. And so just remembering to just surrender, but not always have a fight, have to have that fighting energy. Like, I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to take care. Just putting too much energy into something that doesn't necessarily need the energy, your energy. So just surrendering. And so there's 1 month left in the year, and it's already the beginning of December, and which I guess I cannot believe it's the beginning of December, but it just feels good to be here where I am. And looking back I'm really proud of myself this year on everything I was able to accomplish, and the travel we did, which we'll touch more on that with Jesse on our recap of the year. That'll be the last episode of the year, where we'll recap the year. But we've had amazing travel. I've gotten to see so much family this year, just thinking about it. We had a trip to Czech, and just all of the things that this year has brought it's been really nice. It's been nice to really get back in the swing of things post-COVID. Like, yes, we both had, and that was another thing, is Jesse and I both had COVID this year. Jesse at the beginning of the year, and for me, I had it at the beginning of October, coming off our trip from Czech while I was studying, and so that was a lot. And I definitely went back to my word of the year, surrender, during my COVID, during my just feeling awful and just thinking, you have to relax. And that's going back to listening to my body more, because it needs to heal. And I can tell it's trying to tell me to slow down and surrender. And there's that word again, surrender. And surrender has come up in my life this whole year in physical, mental, emotional senses, just to surrender and go with the flow. Yeah, I think I've done a pretty good job of surrendering. There's been moments where I've allowed my emotions, my energy to get wrapped up in something that doesn't necessarily serve me and shouldn't be serving me. But yeah, I think this year has been good. The year has been good, and I'm proud of the word I chose for this year, because I had a little bit of an idea of, at the beginning of the year, everything that was going to happen this year as far as my goals and any trips we had planned. Although, thinking back on it, we were supposed to go to actually Nicaragua in March for our honeymoon, and we ended up going to Belize instead. And that was a moment where we both had to surrender with Jesse to the fact that this dream of going to Nicaragua, we had our flights booked, our Airbnbs booked, our car rental booked. But due to the complications of travel restrictions at the time into Nicaragua, I don't know what they are now, but they were very difficult. And there were a lot of hoops that you had to jump through. It was just going to be too much. And because Jesse had COVID at the beginning of January, and you had to take a rapid test to get into Nicaragua, there was a chance, even though it was, 50 days later, he could still test positive, and that would cancel our whole trip, which means we would probably lose, I think it was like 70% of all our money that went to the trip. So we ended up just going, you know what? We can't push it. We can't force this trip. Obviously, the universe is telling us this isn't right. And so instead, I remember I found an article that listed every country in alphabetical order, and it had links to their travel page, or to the page that talked about the travel restrictions to get into the country, what you had to have as far as if you were vaccinated, not vaccinated, if you were a citizen of the country or citizen of a certain country, what all those requirements were, how you were entering versus a boat versus a plane, all of that information. And what we did is we looked at the map, and we both decided we're not crossing any ocean to get to our honeymoon destination. So we're not crossing the Pacific. We're in California. We're not crossing the Pacific. We're not crossing the Atlantic. So we have North, Central, and South America to look at. And we started pushing, the dates had to be pushed from March into, we saw an opening in May between all my exams. So end of May, we would be able to go somewhere. And we started looking, and, we were like, let's go somewhere warm. We thought about South America, but at that time, it was our spring, their fall, going into their winter. We were like, no, we want to do something fun, tropical, minimal clothing. We wanted to just be in swimsuits as much as possible, because our original trip was to Nicaragua. And so through process of elimination, we ended up picking Belize, and it ended up being such an awesome trip. I mean, we saw so much wildlife. We have 2 episodes about the trip to Belize, which I'll provide links in the show notes if you're curious about it. It was amazing. We snorkeled with sharks. We saw manatees. We saw a crocodile. No, it was alligator. Yeah, it was an alligator. We saw an alligator. We saw multiple alligators, actually. Monkeys. I mean, huge iguanas. The wildlife there was amazing. And we both came off of that trip, and we were like, it was meant to be. And it was so amazing that we surrendered to not pushing the travel plans and really saying, you know what, we're not going to try and make it challenging, because travel should be fun. Travel should be relaxing. And definitely recently, some of the trips we've been on, just with the COVID restrictions and with the traveling and, flights being canceled, it's been very, very stressful. I don't know if that's any of your experiences, but travel is not what it was pre-COVID. There's definitely more requirements and things you have to have in order to travel. But so yeah, emotional, mental, physical, that surrender, that word has come up. And I think it was the perfect word to choose for this year, because everything that came up, I would kind of, if I had a tough moment or a frustrating moment, it was nice to have a word to kind of think back on and think, okay, just surrender. Just simple as that, right? So would I say, was I successful then with the word surrender? And I think I am. Thinking about it, I definitely am grateful I chose this word. I think I struggle with relaxing, as I said, but I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm so surrendered and so relaxed right now that I just feel like I've really let go. And like today, I have a mile-long list of to-do stuff, and I had a little bit of a moment at breakfast with Jesse. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I'm going to, so much stuff. I need one more extra day at home. And then, I said, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about in my episode. I didn't have enough research. I didn't do everything. And just like, there it comes again, that word, surrender. It's okay. You don't have to be ready in fight mode all the time. You can allow yourself to just surrender and just go with the flow, see what happens. And I am not a see what happens kind of person. I like to plan things out. That's where Jesse and I, if you ever see when like we're about to leave for something and we have to be somewhere at a certain point, we work backwards to figure out what time we need to leave and what time things need to start and all that. And so we're very structured, and I love structure. And so that's why just going with the flow is not something I am good with, but I've allowed myself to be more fluid, more flowy with plans. And that's something too, is making plans with family and friends and not having so much structure, which today we're encompassing in our house today is no structure. And I have behind me piles of laundry and another pile of do you all have that pile of stuff that you're like, I'll get to it later, and I'll get to it later. Well, that pile just keeps migrating around my room, this guest room that I record in, I study in, I do all my stuff, and I now do yoga in this room as well. And so that pile is also staring at me, but I'll get to it because I have time. And yeah, but now thinking about what will next year's word be? And I started to think about that this past week. We're coming on the last month of the year, and what will the word for 2023 be? Because I've also started to pick, I did this last year, is my planner, daily planner, schedule planner. Last year I picked the color purple, and I don't remember why I did, but I remember I thought, lilac, purple, somehow, I know purple is a creative color, and so maybe I was thinking I would be very creative this year. I wish I could remember, but this year the planner I picked is green. It's like a fern green, and for me, I want 2023 to be an abundant year of course, abundance of money, but just, I have my milestone of the exams behind me. And so now there's just, what is 2023 going to be for me? And that's something I'm going to sit down with this month. And of course, in January, you will tune into an episode, probably the first episode of the year. I think I'm going to schedule that and share with you my word. So definitely tune into that, because I know I'll think of something. But I want you all to also think about, take a moment, in the next, maybe after this episode or in the next day or so, just take a moment to reflect on this year. I think, it's the last month of the year. Just see, how do you feel like you took on this year, took on the challenges or the wins and just whatever it was this year that you had going on. And if you had a word, did you remember that word? Did you focus on that word? Did you come back to that word like I did with surrender? And a little assignment is for you to pick a word for next year. And we'll come back together at the beginning of January, after the craziness of the holidays and so much going on. Let's meet back up here again and share each other's word. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you resonated with it in some way, and that you were able to pick a word this year and have success with it. And success with it meaning that you were able to tune into whatever that word is whenever you had a challenging moment. And so if you like this episode, please give it a heart or thumbs up and click the follow button so you can stay up to date on the latest episodes. You can also follow me on Instagram @FromTheHoneycomb Podcast. Thank you so much and see you next week.